年，现在我们再次来到那个 BBC Meditation Center。我们尊贵的Vimalaramsi Bhante，他今天会讲中部35经，这个经叫 Cula Saccaka Sutta， 就是中文叫接家少经。现在我们请我们本爹宣述这个佛陀的经文。
Okay?
Yes.
Okay. Thus have I heard on one occasion the Blessed One was living at Vesali in the great wood in the hall with the peaked roof.
于是我们有一次细专住在比舍里戴宁重阁讲堂。
Now on that occasion, Saccaka, the Nigantha's son, was staying at Vesali.
当时有个辩论家，那个信源的演讲家，众人所公认德行的离干陀的儿子萨揭家居住在毗舍离。
He was a debater and a clever speaker.
他是一个辩论家，一个演说家。
He was regarded as many as a saint.
他很多人都公认他有一个很有德行的一个人。
He was making this statement before the Vesali assembly.
他在毗舍离指挥处有这个说话。
I see no recluse or Brahmin.
我不见了沙门和婆罗门，
The head of an order,
团体的领导者，
the head of a group,
这个众群的老师，
the teacher of a group,
就是刚才我说的老师，
even one claiming to be accomplished and fully awakened,
即使自称阿罗汉者，
who would not shake, shiver, and tremble and sweat under the armpits.
凡与我从事辩论者，不会震动发抖，震抖。
If he were to engage in a debate with me,
如果是他刻意的跟我辩论的话，
even if I were to engage a senseless post in debate,
他与我从事辩论也会震动发抖。
it would shake, shiver, and tremble if it were to engage in debate with me.
如果是无意识的，跟我从事那个辩论，他与我从事辩论也会震动发抖。
So what shall I say of a human being?
那我应该跟人怎么说呢？
Then when it was morning,
在早上，
the Venerable Asaji, dressed and taking his bowl and outer robe, went into Vesali for alms.
那个捐甲阿沙吉呢，他就那个袍衣，就拿那个衣钵去托钵。
As Saccaka, the Nigantha's son, was walking and wandering for exercise in Vesali,
当那个尼干陀的儿子沙揭家在毗舍离在运动散步那个时间，
he saw the Venerable Asaji coming in the distance.
他看到那个捐者阿沙吉远远的走过来，
He went up to him and exchanged greetings.
他们互相打了招呼。
When this courteous and amiable talk was finished,
当他们互相欢迎，然后让他们大家寒暄一下。
Saccaka, the Nigantha's son, stood at one side and said to him,
然后尼干陀的儿子 萨切加对捐者阿西萨这样讲。
Master Asaji,
捐者阿萨吉。
how does the recluse Gotama discipline his disciples?
那我们沙门乔达摩是如何教导弟子的呢？
And how is the recluse Gotama's instruction usually presented to his disciples?
那沙门乔达摩的教戒是如何在弟子身上经常呈现的呢？
This is how the Blessed One disciplines his disciples, Asaji.
细菌是这样教导的，阿萨吉尊者。
And this is how the Blessed One's instruction is usually presented to his disciples.
细菌的教导在弟子身上是经常这样呈现的。
Monks' material form is impermanent.
比丘们是无常的，
Feeling is impermanent.
受是无常的，
Perception is impermanent.
想是无常的，
Formations are impermanent.
行是无常的，
Consciousness is impermanent.
色是无常的。
Monk's material form is not self.
比丘们色是无我，
Feeling is not self.
受是无我，
Perception is not self.
想是无我，
Formations are not self.
行是无我，
Consciousness is not self.
色是无我。
All formations are impermanent.
一切行是无常的，
All things are not self.
一切法是无我。
That is how the Blessed One disciplines his disciples.
这个就是细菌经常的这样教导弟子的。
That is how the Blessed One's instruction is usually presented to his disciples.
细菌这个教解在弟子身上就是这样经常呈现的。
If we have heard what the recluse Gotama asserts, we indeed heard what is disagreeable.
当我们听到沙门乔达摩这样说，实在听到是很难听的。
Perhaps sometime or other we might meet Master Gotama and have some conversation with him.
或许什么时候我们能与那个乔达摩尊师会面，还许能有些交谈。
Perhaps we might detach him from that evil view.
或许因为我们要使基从那邪恶的恶见远离。
Now, at that time, 500 Lekavis had met together in an assembly hall for some business or other.
在当时有500个一些族人，他们在聚会里头，有的事情在要办。
Then Saccaka, the Nigantha son, went to them and said,
当时那个萨奇格就是那个萨揭家儿子，他去见那些尼切族人。
Come forth, good Lekavis, come forth.
底达斯对那些尼切族人这样说：“来呀，来来。
Today there will be some conversation between me and the recluse Gotama.
今天我将有跟那个沙门的乔达摩的交谈。
If the recluse Gotama maintains before me what he has maintained before me,
如果沙门乔达摩对我是这样议论的话，
by one of his famous disciples, the monk named Asaji,
就于毕其中一个有名的弟子，名叫萨奇查比丘，对我这样议论。
then just as a strong man might seize a long-haired ram by the hair and drag him to and drag him fro and drag him round about.
就由于有力气的男子抓着长毛公山羊的毛的身，把它拉来拉去，拉着转， 拉着后这样子把它拉着。
So in debate, I will drag the recluse Gautama to and drag him fro and drag him round about.
我那个时间跟沙门乔达摩就给我好像辩论，把他拉来拉去，拉着转，于有力气的酿酒人。
Just as a strong brewer's workman might throw a big brewer's sieve into a deep water tank.
由于那个酿酒人投一个带走那个男进去深的水池，抓住一端。
And taking it by the corners, drag him true and drag him fro and drag him round about.
就在一端里头把它拉来拉去，拉着转。
So in debate, I will drag the recluse Gautama to and drag him fro and drag him round about.
同样的，我在这个辩论里头要把那个沙门乔达摩，把他拉来拉去，拉着转，拉着走。
Just as a strong brewer's mix.
同样的，要把那个沙门乔达摩，好像调酒这样子，把它摔来摔去，摔上摔下。
Just as a 60-year-old elephant might plunge it into a deep pond and enjoy playing the game of hemp washing.
由于一个60岁的大将跳进那个深莲花池，要玩那个洗澡的游戏。
So I shall enjoy playing the game of hemp washing with the recluse Gautama.
我同样的又会跟那个沙门乔达摩玩我那个马洗的游戏。
Come forth, good Lekavis, come forth.
你们走前来啦，瞧那个离切除的人，那先生们。
Today there will be some conversation between me and the recluse Gautama.
今天我会跟那个沙门乔达摩在路上对话谈论。
Thereupon some Lekavis said, "Who is this recluse Gautama who would refute Saccaka the Nigatha son's assertions?"
那是离切除的人这样说，那个谁是能破那个离切陀的儿子沙基加之论的沙门乔达摩呢？
On the contrary, Saccaka the Nigatha son will refute the recluse Gautama's assertions.
然而那个离江陀的儿子沙基必将破沙门乔达摩之论。
And some Lekavis said, "Who is Saccaka the Nigatha's son, that he could refute the recluse Gautama's assertions?"
一些离切除人这样说，谁是那能破细捐之论的离江陀的儿子沙加强？
On the contrary, the Blessed One will refute Saccaka the Nigatha's son's assertions.
然而细捐必将破这个离江陀的儿子沙加强之论。
Then Saccaka the Nigatha's son went with 500 Lekavis to the hall with the great peaked roof in the great wood.
那个时间，离江陀的儿子沙加强，他跟500个离切族的人一起去的带领众觉讲堂。
Now on that occasion a number of monks were walking up and down in the open.
那个时间，众多比丘在露天处经行。
Then Saccaka the Nigatha's son went up to them and asked, "Go."
那个时间，离江陀的儿子沙基强去见那些比丘。
"Where is Master Gautama staying now, sirs? We want to see Master Gautama."
先生们，那个乔达摩捐师现在住在哪里啊？我们要去见那个乔达摩捐师。乔达摩就是我们佛陀。
The Blessed One has entered the great wood, Saccaka, and is sitting at the root of a tree for the day's abiding.
他们回复沙奇卡细娟现在已经进去那个带领里头，坐在某棵树下，在中午休息。
Then Saccaka, the Nigantha's son, together with a large following of Lekavis, entered the great wood and went to the Blessed One.
那时，尼江陀的儿子沙奇卡与一大堆离切族的人进去那个带领，想去见细娟。
He exchanged greetings with the Blessed One after this courteous and amiable talk was finished, sat down at one side.
抵达后呢，与细娟相互欢迎，然后寒暄一下，就在旁边坐下来。
Some of the Lekavis paid homage to the Blessed One and sat down at one side.
那个离切族的人也先向细娟问讯之后，在旁边坐下来。
Some exchanged greetings with him, and when this courteous and amiable talk was finished, sat down at one side.
有些呢与细娟相互欢迎跟寒暄之后，也在旁边坐下来。
Some extended their hands in reverential salutation towards the Blessed One and sat down at one side.
有些呢向细娟合掌恭敬之后，在一旁坐下来。
Some pronounced their name and clan in the Blessed One's presence and sat down at one side.
一些人在细娟面前告诉他们自己的名字，然后也坐在一旁。
Some kept silent and sat down at one side.
有些的默默的就坐在一旁。
When Saccaka, the Nigantha's son, had sat down, he said to the Blessed One, Go.
那沙奇甲他就对细娟，坐在一旁之后，他就对细娟这样讲。
I would like to question Master Gotama on a certain point.
我想问问乔达摩尊者一些问题。
If Master Gotama would grant me the favor of an answer to the question.
希望乔达摩佛陀允许为我的问题做出解答。
Ask what you like, Saccaka.
佛陀说：“你就喜欢问什么，沙奇者？”
How does Master Gotama discipline his disciples?
乔达摩尊者，你是如何教导佛子弟子的？
And how is Master Gotama's instruction usually presented to his disciples?
那请问乔达摩尊者，你的教戒是如何在弟子身上经常呈现的呢？
This is how I discipline my disciples, Saccaka.
沙奇上，我是这样教导弟子的。
And this is how my instruction is usually presented to my disciples.
这个我的教戒在弟子身上是这样经常呈现的。
Monks' material form is impermanent.
比丘们是无常的，
Feeling is impermanent.
受是无常的，
Perception is impermanent.
想是无常的，
Formations are impermanent.
行是无常的，
Consciousness is
色是无常的，
impermanent.
无常的。
Monks' material form is not self.
比丘们色是无我，
Feeling is not self.
受是无我，
Perception is not self.
想是无我，
Formations are not self.
行是无我，
Consciousness is not self.
色是无我，
All formations are impermanent.
一切行是无常的，
All things are not self.
一切法是无我。
That is the way I discipline my disciples.
是我是这样子教导弟子的，沙奇克。
And that is how my instruction is usually presented to my disciples.
这个教戒在弟子身上就是这样经常呈现的。
A simile occurs to me, Master Gotama.
有个比喻出现在我心上啊，乔 先生。
Explain how it occurs to you, Saccaka.
那席娟说：“请你说出来，萨奇克。
Just as when seeds and plants, whatever their kind,
当由于当硬格的种子类的
reach growth, increase, and maturation,
那是来到成长、增长、扩展那个时候，
all do so in dependence upon the earth,
一切都依止于土地上，
based upon the earth.
就伫立在土地上。
And just as when strenuous works, whatever their kind, are done,
这样，这种种子类、草木类达成增长、成长、成熟，
all are done in dependence upon the earth, based upon the earth.
它们的成长全部是依止在那个土地上。
So too, Master Gautama,
那钱老猫先生，
a person has material form as self,
那个立性之个人，
and based upon material form,
立住于色之后，
he produces merit or demerit.
它产生夫而非夫。
A person has feeling as self,
有受的人，
and based upon feeling, he produces merit or demerit.
助力于受之后，它产生夫还是非夫。
A person has perception as self,
有想作为一个人，
and based upon perception, he produces merit or demerit.
助力于想之后产生夫而非夫。
A person has formations as self,
行当为就是一个人，
and based upon formation, he produces merit or demerit.
你助力在行之后产生夫还是非夫。
A person has consciousness as self,
当一个人当把色当是一个人，
and based upon consciousness, he produces merit or demerit.
立住于色之后，它会产生夫还是非夫。
Saccaka, are you not asserting thus?
说这个，你还没有你之前讲吗？
Material form is myself.
色是我的真我，
Feeling is myself.
受是我的真我，
Perception is myself.
想是我的真我，
Formations are myself.
行是我的真我，
Consciousness is myself.
色是我的真我，是吗？
I assert thus, Master Gautama,
我确实是这样讲的，乔达摩先生。
material form is myself.
色是我的真我，
Feeling is myself.
受是我的真我，
Perception is myself.
想是我的真我，
Formations are myself.
行是我的真我，
Consciousness is myself.
色是我的真我。
And so does the great multitude.
这个大家都是这样讲的。
What has this great multitude to do with you, Saccaka?
那大众与你有干呢，有何干，有什么关系呢？阿斯扎记者，
Please confine yourself to your own assertions alone.
请你说明自己的论点，萨记者。
Then, Master Gautama, I assert thus.
乔达摩先生，我确实是这样讲。
Material form is myself.
色是我的真我，
Feeling is myself.
受是我的真我，
Perception is myself.
想是我的真我，
Formations are myself.
行是我的真我，
Consciousness is myself.
色是我的真我。
In that case, Saccaka, I shall ask you a question in return. Answer as you choose.
那这样子，萨奇卡，我反过来想问你，你就令你 因为最妥当的回应回
What
答我。
What do you think, Saccaka?
这个你是怎么想？
Would a head-anointed noble king, for example, King Pasenadi of Kosala or King Ajatasattu of Magadha,
舍利沙地利的那个灌顶王，会在自己的领土上行使那个权利，
exercise the power over his own realm to execute those who should be executed, to find those who should be fined, and to abandon those who should be abandoned.
他有这个权利杀应该被杀的，还没收的应被没收财产的，还是驱逐应被驱逐的。
Master Gautama, a head-anointed noble king,
由于乔沙罗国的波斯匿王，
for example, King Pasenadi of Kosala
又
or King Ajatasattu of Magadha,
又或者由于摩羯陀国的阿切细王韦提西之子吗？
would exercise the power over his own realm to execute those who should be executed,
那沙地利灌顶王会在自己的领土上行使权利，
to find those who should be fined,
他杀应该被杀的，还是被没收财产的，
and to banish those who should be banished.
他是驱逐应被驱逐的。
For even these oligarchic communities and societies, such as the Vajjans and Namalians,
就由于那个乔萨罗国的波西利王，又或者是由于摩羯陀王的阿切细王，
exercise the power in their own realm to execute those who should be executed,
即使那些团体群众与帕谢族、莫罗族在自己的领土上行使权利，杀应被杀的，没收的财产应没收的，还驱逐应被驱逐的，
to find those who should be fined,
就是没收应被没收的，
and to banish those who should be banished.
驱逐应被驱逐的。
So all the more should a head-anointed noble king, such as King Pasenadi of Kosala or King Ajatasattu of Magadha,
就何况那个沙特里灌顶王，由于乔萨罗国的波斯匿王，
he would exercise it, Master Gautama, and he would be worthy to exercise it.
他会行使，他应该可以行使这个权利。
Now, what do you think, Saccaka, when you say thus, material form is myself?
那沙其实你是怎么想？当你说"色是我的真我"的时候，
Do you exercise any such power?
你在那个色上能行使那个权利吗？
Over that material form as to say, let my form be thus, let my form not be thus.
你可以在说我的是我要是这样子，我的是我不要这样子，可以吗？
When this was said, Saccaka, the Nigantha son, was silent.
那个时候，沙奇格就变得很沉默了。
A second time the Blessed One asked the same question.
第二次，世尊同样问这个问题。
And the second time, Saccaka, the Nigantha son, was silent.
同样的，他也是变得很沉默的。第二次，
Then the Blessed One said to him, Saccaka, answer now. Now is not the time to be silent.
世尊跟他说："沙奇格，你现在这里回答，你不能变得沉默。
If anyone, when asked a reasonable question up to the third time by the Tathagata, still does not answer, his head splits into 7 pieces there and then.
萨奇卡有认可的理由，那个问题我问了3次，你不回答的话，就在这里头会裂成7片。
Now on that occasion, the thunderbolt-wielding spirit, holding an iron thunderbolt that burned, blazed, and glowed,
那个时间，金刚手夜叉拿着一个烧得红红的那个金刚杵坐在上面，
appeared in the air above Saccaka, the Nigantha sun.
就站在那个萨奇加的头上上空。
Thinking if this Saccaka, the Nigantha sun, when asked a reasonable question up to the third time by the Blessed One, still does not answer, I shall split his head into 7 pieces here and now.
那个金刚手夜叉就这样想，如果是这个萨奇克，他对有理由的问题，细卷问他，他第3次都不回答的话，我就在这里把他打裂成7片，把他的头。
It's very impolite to be talking when you're hearing the Dhamma.
在这里呢，在讲话，他在说经，你们讲话是很不礼貌的，
Please do not do that anymore.
千万不要再做。
Here. The Blessed One saw the thunderbolt-wielding spirit,
那个时间，那个萨奇卡看到了上面那个金刚手夜叉，
and so did Saccaka, the Nigantha sun.
那个萨奇卡看到，细卷也看到。
Then Saccaka, the Nigantha sun, was frightened, alarmed, and terrified.
哇，那个时间萨奇卡哇，很害怕，很惊慌的，
Seeking his shelter, asylum, and refuge in the Blessed One himself.
求细娟保护他，求细娟庇护，求细娟皈依。
Ask me again, Master Gotama, I will answer.
他对细娟说：“乔达摩尊师，请你再问我，我将会回答你。”
What do you think, Saccaka, when you say thus, material form is myself?
小奇克，你是这样想吗？当你这样说，是我的真我时，
Do you exercise any such power over that material form as to say, let my form be thus, let my form not be thus?
你能在那个色上行使那个权利，想，我想这个色是要是这样子的，我要这个色不要是这样子，能吗？
No, Master Gotama.
不行，乔达摩先生。
Pay attention, Saccaka, pay attention to how you reply.
那你看看，你想一下，你注意一下，你刚才回答怎么回答我？
What you said afterwards does not agree with what you said before,
你前后说话都不一致，
nor does what you said before agree with what you said afterwards.
前跟后两个说法都不一样的。
What do you think, Saccaka, when you say thus?
你是怎么想？当你说
Feeling is myself.
受是我的真我，
Do you exercise any power over that feeling as to say, let my feeling be thus, let my feeling not be thus?
你可以在那个受上面行使那个权利，你的人把这个受要做成怎么样，而是这个受不要是这样子行吗？
No, Master Gotama.
不行，乔达摩先生。
Pay attention, Saccaka, pay attention to how you reply.
那你注意哦，看看你是怎么回
What you said afterwards does not agree with what you said before,
你现在说的跟之前说的是不一样的哦。
nor does what you said before agree with what you said afterwards.
或者你后面讲的跟前面是不一样哦。
What do you think, Saccaka, when you say perception is myself?
萨奇卡，你是怎么想？当你说想是我的真我的时候，
Do you exercise any power over that perception as to say, let my perception be thus, let my perception not be thus?
你能在那个想象行使那个权利，说我的想我要是这样子，我的想我不要是这样子，行吗？
No, Master Gotama.
不行，乔达摩先生。
Pay attention, Saccaka, pay attention to how you reply.
你作意，你刚才说的话，你怎么回应我？
What you said afterwards does not agree with what you said before,
你后面讲的跟前面是不一样的，
nor does what you said before agree with what you said afterwards.
或者是前面的跟后面是不一样的。
What do you think, Saccaka, when you say thus?
你怎么想呢，萨奇卡？当你这样说，
Formations are myself.
行是我的真我。
Do you exercise any such power over those formations as to say, let my formations be thus, let my formations be not be thus?
你在那个行上能行使那个权利，我的行我要他这样子，我的行我不要是这样子，行吗？
No, Master Gotama.
不行，乔达摩先生。
Pay attention, Saccaka, pay attention to how you reply.
这个你看看你是怎么样回答我，你做一下。
What you said afterwards does not agree with what you said before,
你后面讲的跟前面是不一样的，
nor does what you said before agree with what you said afterwards.
前面跟后面是不一致的。
What do you think, Saccaka, when you say thus, consciousness is myself?
你怎么想啊，萨奇卡？当你这样说“是我的真我”那个时候，
Do you exercise any such power over that consciousness as to say, let my consciousness be thus, let my consciousness not be thus?
那你在那个“上行使权利，我的是我要他这样子，我的是我不要这样子，行吗？
Pay attention, Saccaka, pay attention to how you reply.
你做一下，你是怎么回应我的，萨奇卡？
What you said afterwards does not agree with what you said before,
你后面跟前面不一样，
nor does what you said before agree with what you said afterwards.
前面跟后面是不一致的。
What do you think, Saccaka? Is material form permanent or impermanent?
萨奇卡，你想想，那个是长的还是无常的呢？
Impermanent, Master Gotama.
乔达摩先生是无常的。
Is what is impermanent suffering or happiness?
那凡是无常的，是苦啊，还是乐的呢？细娟问。
Excuse me. Suffering, Master Gotama,
乔达摩先生是苦的。
is what is impermanent suffering and subject to change, fit to be regarded thus. This is mine, this I am, this is myself.
那如果是所有法都是无常的，是苦的，是有变异的，你是可认为这是我的，我是这样子的，这个就是我的真我，可以吗？
No, Master Gotama.
不行，乔达摩先生。
What do you think, Saccaka? Is feeling permanent or impermanent?
那下这个你这样想，受是常还是无常呢？
Impermanent, Master Gotama,
无常的乔达摩先生，
is what is impermanent suffering or happiness?
如果是无常的，是苦的还是乐呢？
Suffering, Master Gotama,
苦的乔达摩先生，
is what is impermanent suffering and subject to change, fit to be regarded thus. This is mine, this I am, this is myself.
凡是无常的、苦的、变异的，你适合认为这是你能说这是我的，我是这个，这是我的真我吗？
No, Master Gotama.
不行，乔达摩先生。
What do you think, Saccaka? Is perception permanent or impermanent?
下去个你怎么想？我想问一下，想是常的还是无常的呢？
Impermanent, Master Gotama,
是无常的，乔达摩先生。
is what is impermanent suffering or happiness?
凡是无常的，是苦的还是乐呢？
Suffering, Master Gotama,
是苦的，乔达摩先生。
is what is impermanent suffering and subject to change, fit to be regarded thus. This is mine, this I am, this is myself.
凡是无常的、苦的、变异的，你适合认为这是我的，我是这个的，这是我的真我，可以吗？
No, Master Gotama.
不行，乔达摩先生。
What do you think, Saccaka? Are formations permanent or impermanent?
下去看，你这样想，行是常的还是无常的呢？
Impermanent, Master Gotama,
是无常的，乔达摩先生。
is what is impermanent suffering or happiness?
凡是无常的，是苦啊还是乐呢？
Suffering, Master Gotama,
是苦的，乔达摩先生。
is what is impermanent suffering and subject to change, fit to be regarded thus. This is mine, this I am, this is myself.
凡是无常的、苦的、变异的，你适合认为这是我的，我是这个，这是我的真我，可以吗？
What do you think, Saccaka? Is consciousness permanent or impermanent?
下去看你怎么想，是常的还是无常的呢？
Impermanent, Master Gotama,
无常的，乔达摩先生。
is what is impermanent suffering or happiness.
凡是无常的，是苦的还是乐的呢？
Suffering, Master Gotama,
苦的，乔达摩先生。
is what is impermanent suffering and subject to change, fit to be regarded thus. This is mine, this I am, this is myself.
凡是无常的、苦的、变异的，你适合认为这是我的，我是这个，这是我的真我，可以吗？
No, Master Gotama.
不行，乔达摩先生。
What do you think, Saccaka? When one adheres to suffering, resorts to suffering, holds to suffering, and regards what is suffering thus, this is mine, this I am, this is myself.
下去看，你这样想，凡所有人记住了那个苦，你混入这个苦，执取那个苦，因为那个苦，这个就是我的，我是这个，这是我的真我。
Could one ever fully understand suffering oneself, or abide with suffering utterly destroyed?
人能肯定的骗知，那个苦既是 能助于苦的灭尽吗？
How could one, Master Gotama? No, Master Gotama.
怎么能呢？乔达摩先生，这确实是不能的，乔达摩先生。
What do you think, Saccaka? That being so, do you not adhere to suffering, resort to suffering, and hold suffering, and regard what is suffering thus?
那乔达萨奇卡，你是这样想？当全在这个时候，你如果是不执着那个苦，你恨有那个苦，执取那个苦，因为苦是，这是我的，我是这个，这个是我的真我，可以吗？
This is mine, this I am, this is myself.
这是我的，我是这个，这是我的真我，可以吗？
How could I not, Master Gotama? Yes, Master Gotama.
我怎么能不呢？乔达摩先生正是这样子。
It is though a man seeking heartwood,
有于一个男子想拿到取到一个新的财，
wandering in search of heartwood,
到处去找那个新财，
would take a sharp axe and enter the wood,
拿那个锋利的那个斧头走去那个树林里头，
and there he would see a large plantain trunk,
他看到一个大芭蕉的树干，
straight, young, with no fruit bud core,
那个树干是挺直的，生长出来的，还没抽那个芽的结果的。
then he would cut it down at the root,
他把那个根部把它割掉，
cut off the crown,
割掉那个头部顶部，
and unroll the leaf sheaths.
要他把那个芭蕉叶一层一层把它剥出来。
But as he went on unrolling the leaf sheets, he would never come even to any sapwood, let alone heartwood.
原来这个芭蕉树，它拔出来一片片片拔出来了，原来那个里头没有新材的，是空的。
So too, Saccaka, when you are pressed, questioned, and cross-questioned by me about your own assertions, you turn out to be empty, vacant, and mistaken.
萨奇卡，你在这个论点上跟我讨论、责问、追究那个时间，你已经成为是空的、空虚的，是违反的真理的。
But it was you who made this statement before the Vesali Assembly.
但是萨奇卡，这确实是你在那个毗舍离实会处所讲的话。
I see no recluse or Brahmin, the head of an order, the head of a group.
我不见了三人的婆罗门，那个团体的领导者，
The teacher of a group, even one claiming to be accomplished and fully awakened.
你是群众的老师，是使自心向阿罗汉遍尽觉者。
Who would not shake, shiver, and tremble, and sweat under the armpits.
你说，凡与我从事辩论，不会震动、发抖、腾抖。
If he were to engage in debate with me,
如果是无意识的，也能跟我从事辩论。
even if I were to engage a senseless post in debate,
他与我从事辩论，也会
it would shake, shiver, and tremble as if it were to engage in debate with me.
震动、发抖、腾抖。
So what shall I say of a human being?
那何况是人类呢？
Now there are drops of sweat on your forehead,
那你看你的前额，你流出那个汗了，
and they have soaked through your upper robe and fallen to the ground.
你的汗呢，已经把你的上衣湿透了，
But
掉
there's
在地上。
but there is no sweat on my body now.
看我的身上是没有汗的。
And the Blessed One uncovered his golden-colored body before the assembly.
这时候，细宣在那个群众前裂开自己的身体。
When this was said, Saccaka the Nigantha son sat silent, dismayed, with shoulders drooping and head down, glum and without response.
那个时间，萨奇克变得很沉默，很惭愧，那个肩膀的垂下来，低下头，很闷闷的，没办法说话的坐下来。
Then Dumukha, a son of the Lekavis, seeing Saccaka the Nigantha's son in such a condition, said to the Blessed One, "Assembly occurs to me, Master Gotama."
那个时间，那个尼切人有一人叫都姆卡的，看到那个离街头的萨奇卡是变得这么沉默、惭愧。 那个肩膀的垂下来，低头闷闷的，没办法说话，坐在那边。然后对细专间说：“细专有个碧玉出现在我身上、心中。”
Explain how it occurs to you, Dumukha.
杜姆卡细专说：“那你请你解释出来。”
Suppose, Venerable Sir, not far from a village or town, there was a pond with a crab in it.
这好像戴德，由于在一个圈落，有不远去的莲花池，那边有一些螃蟹。
And then a party of boys or girls went from the town or the village into the pond.
然后呢，有些孩子就在那个圈上走出来，走去那个莲花池。
They went into the water and pulled the crab out of the water and put it on dry land.
他们小孩就在那个莲花池抓了一些螃蟹，就把它抓出来在地上。
And whenever the crab extended a leg, they cut it off, broke it, and smashed it with sticks and stones.
当那个螃蟹那个脚一个脚伸出来，他们小孩马上用那个木棍啊，还是石头把它割开。
So that crab, with all its legs cut off, broken and smashed, would be unable to get back to the pond as before.
那个螃蟹的脚全部破断了，所以不能再进去那个莲花池了。
So too all Saccaka, the Nigantha's son's contortions, writhings, and vacillations have been cut off, broken, and smashed by the Blessed One.
就跟那个萨奇克一样呢，他所说的话呢，他忍不伤为，由于那些话全都给细捐，把它割断了、破裂的，然后破坏它。
And now he cannot get near the Blessed One again for the purpose of debate.
那现在大的那个萨奇克已经不能再走进你的身旁跟你辩论了。
When this was said, Saccaka the Nigantha's son told him, "Wait, Dumukha, wait."
那个时候，萨奇克呢就跟那个都摩卡的这样说：“哎，都摩卡，你等一等，你等一等。”
We are not speaking with you here. We are speaking with Master Gotama.
我们不是跟你谈话，这里我们是跟乔达摩先生谈话。
Then he said, "Let be, Master Gotama, that talk of ours, and of those other ordinary recluses and Brahmins.
乔达摩先生，请记住我们跟沙门婆罗门的谈话，闲聊而已。
It is mere prattle.
这个是闲话的。
But in what way is a disciple of Master Gotama one who carries out his instructions?
那什么时间是实现那个教戒，遵守那个训诫？
Who responds to his advice?
他承担他那种，
Who has crossed beyond doubt?
脱离那个疑惑，
become free from perplexity,
离远的那个迷惑，
gained intrepidity,
得到那个无畏，
and become independent of others in the teacher's dispensation.
变成是不依赖他人，住在大师教界上的乔达摩弟子。
Here, Saccaka, any kind of material form whatever,
下去看在这里，凡所有的事，
whether past, future, or present,
无论是过去、未来还是现在，
internal or external,
在内在外，
gross or subtle,
粗或细，
inferior or superior,
萨略跟性妙的，
far or near.
远跟近的。
A disciple of mind sees all material form as it actually is with proper wisdom thus.
我的弟子以正确的位，是如实的、实实在在的看到所有的事。
This is not mine. This I am not. This is not myself.
这不是我的，我不是这个，这不是我的真我。
Here, Saccaka,
下去看这样子，
any kind of feeling whatever, whether past, future, or present,
凡任何的受，不论过去、未来、现在，
internal or external,
内还是外，
gross or subtle,
粗还是细，
inferior or superior,
萨略还是性妙，
far or near.
远还是近。
A disciple of mind sees all feeling as it actually is with proper wisdom thus.
我的弟子以正确的慧，是这样如实的看所有的受。
This is not mine. This I am not. This is not myself.
这不是我的，我不是这个，这不是我的真我。
Here, Saccaka, any kind of perception whatever,
下去看这里，凡所有的想，
whether past, future, or present,
不论过去、未来、现在，
internal or external,
内还是外，
gross or subtle,
粗还是细，
inferior or superior,
萨略还是性妙，
far or near.
远还是近。
A disciple of mind sees all perception as it actually is with proper wisdom thus.
我的弟子以正确的位，是如此的、如实的看所有的想。
This is not mine. This I am not. This is not myself.
这不是我的，我不是这个，这不是我的真我。
Here, Saccaka, any kind of formations, whatever,
下去看这样子，凡所有的行，
past, future, or present,
不论过去、未来、现在，
internal or external,
内还是外，
gross or subtle,
粗还是细，
inferior or superior,
萨略的还是性妙的，
far or near.
远还是近的。
A disciple of mind sees all formations as they actually are with proper wisdom thus.
我的弟子以正确之位，这样如实的看所有的行。
These are not mine. This I am not. This is not myself.
这不是我的，我不是这个，这不是我的真我。
Here, Saccaka, any kind of consciousness whatever,
下去搞这样子，凡所有的事，
whether past, future, or present,
不论过去、未来、现在，
internal or external,
内还是外，
gross or subtle,
粗还是细，
inferior or superior,
萨略还性妙，
far or near.
远跟近。
A disciple of mine sees all consciousness as it actually is with proper wisdom thus.
我的弟子以正确的位，是结眼如实的看所有的事。
This is not mine. This I am not. This is not myself.
这也不是我的，我不是这个，这也不是我的真我。
It is in this way that a disciple of mine is one who carries out my instruction.
下去吧，是这个情况是实践的那个教诫，遵从那个劝诫。
Who responds to my advice.
他对我这个教诫遵从。
Who has crossed beyond doubt.
脱离那个疑惑。
Becomes free from perplexity.
离那个迷惑。
Has gained intrepidity.
得那个无畏。
And become independent of others in the teacher's dispensation.
住在代系教导下，而不依赖其他人。
Now this is another way that the Buddha is saying that you are your own teacher.
佛陀说，你自己就是自己的弟子，就是意思说，你能明白这个实相的话，你就是自己的老师。
Master Gotama, in what way is a monk an arahat with all taints destroyed?
那乔达摩先生，什么情况下是变成阿罗汉呢？烦恼已尽呢？反省已成呢？
One who has lived the holy life.
人应该做的已做。
Done what had to be done.
应该做是已做的。
Laid down the burden.
把所有的负担卸掉。
Reached his own goal.
自己的利益已达成。
Destroyed the fetters of being.
然后把所有的结灭尽。
And is completely liberated through final knowledge.
最后是完全从自里的解脱。
Here, Saccaka, any kind of material form whatever, whether past, future, or present, internal or external, gross or subtle, inferior or superior, far or near. A monk has seen all material form as it actually is with proper wisdom thus. This is not mine, this I am not, this is not myself. And through not craving and clinging, he is liberated.
他不执着，也不贪入在这个，所以他成为一个解脱者。
Here, Saccaka, any kind of feeling whatever.
Saccaka 这样的，凡所有的受。
Whether past, future, or present.
无论过去、未来、现在。
Internal or external.
内还是外。
Gross or subtle.
细还是粗。
Inferior or superior.
下略跟性妙。
Far or near.
远还是近。
A monk has seen all feeling as it actually is with proper wisdom thus.
比丘以正确之位，这样如实的看所有的受。
This is not mine, this I am not, this is not myself.
这不是我的，我不是这个，这不是我的真我。
And through not craving and clinging is liberated.
因为不知取还是不贪恋这个，而成为解脱者。
Here, Saccaka, any kind of perception whatever.
Saccaka 这样凡所有的想。
Whether past, future, or present.
无论过去、未来、现在。
Internal or external.
内还是外，
gross or subtle,
粗还是细，
inferior or superior,
下略的还是信妙的，
far or near.
远还是近的。
A monk has seen all perception as it actually is with proper wisdom thus.
比丘以净确智慧，借如实的看所有的想。
This is not mine, this I am not, this is not myself.
这不是我的，我不是这个，这不是我的真我。
And through not craving and clinging, he is liberated.
因为不执水、不贪着而成为解脱者。
Here, Saccaka, any kind of formations,
下去
whatever,
指凡所有的行，
whether past, future, or present,
无论过去、未来、现在，
inferior or superior,
内是外，
far or near.
粗还远还是外，远还是近。
A monk has seen all formations as they actually are with proper wisdom thus.
比丘以净学之慧，借愿如实的看
This
所有的行。
This I am not, this is not not me, this is not myself.
这不是我的，我不是这个，这不是我的真我。
Here, Saccaka, any kind of consciousness, whatever,
下去看见所有的心，
whether past, future, or present,
不论过去、未来、现在，
internal or external,
内还是外，
gross or subtle,
粗还是细，
inferior or superior,
下略还是信妙，
far or near.
远还是近。
A monk has seen all consciousness as it actually is with proper wisdom thus.
比丘以净确智慧，借愿如实的看所有的身。
This is not mine, this I am not, this is not myself.
这不是我的，我不是这个，这不是我的真我。
And through not craving and clinging, he is liberated.
因为不执水、不贪着而成为那个解脱者。
It is this way that a monk is an arahat with taints destroyed.
是这个情况下变成烦恼已尽的阿罗汉。
One who has lived the holy life.
他在这个梵行，住在这个梵行，
Done what had to be done.
修行已成，应该做的已做，
Laid down the burden.
负担已卸掉，
Reached his own goal.
自己的利益已达成，
Destroyed the fetters of being.
灭尽所有的结，
And is completely liberated through final knowledge.
是成为一个完全记的解脱者。
When a monk's mind is thus liberated,
当这个心解脱的比丘，
he possesses three unsurpassable qualities.
有3种无相的那个值，
Unsurpassable vision,
见无相，
unsurpassable practice,
道之无相，
unsurpassable deliverance.
解脱无相。
When a monk is liberated, he still honors, respects, reveres, and venerates the Tathagata thus.
但是比丘是心解脱的话，他仍然是恭敬、尊重、尊敬。
The Blessed One is awakened, and he teaches the Dhamma for the sake of awakening.
尊重佛陀，那个以觉的细捐教导，为了觉的法。
The Blessed One is tamed, and he teaches the Dhamma for taming oneself.
那个以那个调御的细捐教导，为了调御的法。
The Blessed One is at peace, and he teaches the Dhamma for the sake of peace.
那个极静的细娟教导为了极静的法。
The Blessed One is crossed over, and he teaches the Dhamma for crossing over.
已经度脱的细娟教导为了度脱的法。
The Blessed One has attained Nibbana, and he teaches the Dhamma for attaining Nibbana.
细娟是已经得到那个涅槃，所以教导为了涅槃的法。
When this was said, Saccaka, the Niganta's son, replied,
那个期间，像这个跟细娟这样讲。
Master Gotama, we were bold and impudent in thinking that we could attack Master Gotama in debate.
乔达摩先生，我们却是厚颜带胆，想跟你辩论。
A man might attack a mad elephant and find safety, yet he could not attack Master Gotama and find safety.
乔达摩先生对人来讲，攻击那个发情的象可能是安全，但是如果是攻击乔达摩军师，是不可能是安全的。
A man might attack a blazing mass of fire and find safety, yet he could not attack Master Gotama and find safety.
乔达摩先生对人来讲，攻击以燃烧的火团可能是安全的，但是如果是攻击乔达摩捐资，不可能是安全的。
A man might attack a terrible poisonous snake and find safety, yet he could not attack Master Gotama and find safety.
乔达摩先生对人来说，攻击那个满毒的蛇可能是安全的，然而是攻击乔达摩捐师的话，不可能是安全的。
We were bold and impudent in thinking we could attack Master Gotama in debate.
我们实在是厚颜带胆，想以为可以辩论攻击乔达摩捐师。
Let the Blessed One, together with the Sangha of monks, consent to accept tomorrow's meal from me.
请乔达摩捐师跟比丘僧团一起同意明天我的饮食供养。
The Blessed One consented in silence.
细娟以沉默的同意了。
Then, knowing that the Blessed One had consented, Saccaka, the Niganta's son, addressed the Lekavis thus.
那个期间，那个沙奇家知道细娟已经同意他的供养，然后教父那些离切熟人。
Hear me, Lekavis. The recluse Gotama, together with the Sangha of good monks, has been invited by me for tomorrow's meal.
离切诸位先生，你听我说，明天沙门乔达摩与比丘僧团已经应邀在我那边供养了。
You may bring to me whatever you think would be suitable for them.
那你们可以带一些你们认为适当的去供养，你可以带过来。
Then when the night was ended, the Lekavis brought 500 ceremonial dishes of milk rice.
那晚过后呢，那是离切族人就为了那个沙奇茶带来500窝的那个做那个米，就是用那个奶来煮的。
Then Saccaka, the Niganta's son, had good food of various kinds prepared in his own park.
因为沙奇卡也在他们自己的园林里头准备一个最美好的硬吃跟那个软吃的来供养细娟。
And had the time announced to the Blessed One, "It is time, Master Gotama, the meal is ready."
那他邀请乔达摩先生，时间已经到了，饮食已经准备好了。
Then it was morning. The Blessed One dressed and taking his bowl and outer robe, went with the Sangha of monks to the park of Saccaka, the Niganta's son, and sat down on seats made ready.
那时间，细娟在早上就是把衣钵圈好，带着这个钵，去到他那个沙奇卡的园林里头， 到步之后，你跟一些比丘僧团一起在已经准备好的座位坐下来了。
Then, with his own hand, Saccaka the Niganta's son served and satisfied the Sangha of monks, headed by the Buddha with various kinds of good food.
那个期间，沙奇克他亲手的
That's as far as I'm going to go.
用手来供养那个食物，来满足佛陀。
That's as far as I'm going to go. Now we're done. So I like this sutta very much
他喜欢这个经文，
because it shows you exactly what not self means.
他就告诉你这个五蕴里头是没有一个真正的我。
And you will get more of an idea as we go along.
你会在以后都会听到他是这样讲。
Every time you relax,
当你就放松那个时候，
you let go of craving.
你就把那个贪着把它松开。
Craving is the very beginning of the wrong belief in I am that.
那个贪就是对你所有那个五蕴那个贪着的，认为那个五蕴是我。
So when you let go and you relax, right after that your mind is very clear. You don't have distracting thoughts.
当你松开那个贪那个紧迫的，那里面就能达到那个平静。
And that means you're seeing things as not me personally.
那你看到，其实说所有那个现象不是有一个我的。
So many times I get questions, well then who is it?
那是谁呢？不是我的话，
It is just a series of events that cause this process to occur.
其实说就是有一些事情发生出来，就是它很自然随着一个因缘出来的。
And you heard at the beginning of this Dhamma talk about karma.
那之前有人说你也听说那个是业，
Why are you here?
为什么你现在在这里？
Because in the past you broke precepts.
因为你之前你这破戒，
Okay? You took things, you have a guilty mind, and you took things personally. This is me, this is mine.
你是拿一些东西把这个东西当成这个是我的。
Okay? But when you let go of the craving, you are purifying your mind.
当你显除那个贪着的时候，那你的心当下就清净了，
Little by little.
一点一点的这样子
Okay?
净化。
But your mind becomes much more clear and you have more balance in your mind when you do this.
当你的心很清净，那你就变成很平息、很平衡、平衡。
Okay. Do you have any questions?
有问题吗？
That happens again. It's amazing how quiet it gets.
哇，全部静下来了，一受到五蕴没我、无我。
But that's one of the reasons that I like to read the sutta, because it answers your questions.
这个经文佛陀的经文、原始的经文，它只是回答的问题。
It's very systematic and it tells you how to do this very clearly.
它怎么叫你内观看到一个无我的状态，从五蕴开始。
That's why this is better than a lot of monks that they just start talking.
那个比就随口讲比较好。
It can
按
get
照那个经文来讲比较好。
it can get very confusing.
因为呢，很多时间很confusion 的，很乱的讲的。
But when we read it the way the Buddha teaches it,
但
it's
是
very
按照
plain.
佛陀这个器罪来讲的话，就很一清二楚，
It's easy to understand.
容易明白。是
Okay.
吗？好像不大容易哦。对呀。Not easy to understand.
It's not so easy. suffering a question from Bhante, but
The question from Buddha.
suffering or happiness, which one is?
Well, which one is it?
Yeah, but both. But
Is it?
Only one. I thought it's.
Why is it both? You can only do things one thing at a time. Things happen only one thing at a time.
But happiness also not.
No, that's your opinion.
What I mean.
That's your opinion. That's your concepts. That doesn't mean that it's right.
Yeah, of course not. What I mean is, if there's two things, you choose one, then happiness is also.
One leads to a clear mind that is not taking thirst personally, and the other is not. There is a word in Pali called chanda.
有的事情你看呢，这个苦跟乐的，可能是你们看是很当面的看的，不一定是实在的，因为呢，我都忘了他讲什么。
Well, let me talk. No more. Chanda means wholesome desire. Not all desire is unwholesome.
有些欲望呢，有一个欲望是好的，是chanda，它叫chanda，这个欲求是好的。
Chanda means pointing your mind in the direction you want it to go.
它这个意志力呢，是引发你去到你的目的地。
But it doesn't have any attachment in it. There is no craving in it.
但是这个意志力，它里头是没有贪着的，都没有执着的。
The more you let go of craving,
你越把你那个贪着抛弃，
the more your mind tends to have purity in it.
那你的心就越来越清纯了。
The more happiness you experience.
然后呢，因为你的心的净化，越来越开心。
And it will happen very naturally.
它很自然的发生的。
That's why I like this meditation.
他就喜欢这个禅修，因为它会自然发生的，所以他喜欢。
Because there is personality development, and you will see this in yourself.
你慢慢的进去这个禅修，你的那个性情会改变的。
Your mind will just tend to be more happy as you understand more deeply.
就会越来越开心，对法上越来越明白的话呢，那你就会越来越开心。
Okay, I'm going to give you one more example.
给你一个 example。
One-pointed concentration, which almost everybody is teaching.
现在每个人都叫一个叫 one point concentration， 中文怎么翻译？一点集中在一点的修行。现在基本上外面全都是叫你一点的集中。
This is the way it works.
他这样子钉在这里，就这样子。
Okay. You're on an object of meditation, and the favorite one is the breath.
原来所缘在呼吸里头。
And I'll show you why it doesn't work.
那为什么人家不能进入呢？现在这种修行。
You have a distraction pulling your attention away.
当你有善念身把你拉出去不在所缘那个时间。
What is the instruction that they give you when that happens?
那一般人家是怎么教导你的呢？
Let it go, suppress it, stop it from bothering you, and immediately come back to your object of meditation.
他们的教导说不要管它，把它撇开是这个压着它，然后马上回到你的所缘里头。
If you do not intentionally relax and let go of that craving, you're bringing you're bringing that craving back to your object of meditation.
问题就是了，你就这样子，他没有叫你松开，把那个贪着显除的话，你马上回到这里的话呢，就是意思说你的贪着同样也带到这里来，
And
要
this
把它净化。
this meditation I'm teaching you adds one more step
他现在叫你的只是多加一个工具，
of relax.
就把它松开。
So when you come back to your object of meditation, your mind is pure.
当你松开，就是你的贪着已经把它显除。
Your
你
mind
再回
is
到当下的那个所缘，那
more
就是清净的。
more alert
然后呢，这个觉察
and
更
more
强，
happy.
然后多一点快乐。
And then you change the old habit of being unhappy to the new habit of being happy.
把习性的不开心的事情变成现在那种开心的事情，
And you'll see that in yourself.
你自己能察觉得到的，有什么改变？
When you get off retreat, you go home, people say, "You're different.
如果是你这样子回到家人再说，哎，你好像改了呗，
Your mind isn't so shaky.
那你的心好像没有这么浮躁了，
What are you doing?
你在做什么？
I want some of that."
我也想这样子。
Okay, and this has happened. I have many students,
还有很多
Maybe-
很多学生都是有这个情况，
maybe as many as 10,000.
起码有10000人，
And they all come back and tell me, people want more of this.
每个
They
人
want
都
to
是
find
告
out
诉
what
他
you're doing.
他说：“哎，奇怪，我就是想学这个是什么样的，他们想找出来是做了什么事情。
How do you know that you're progressing in meditation?
你怎么知道你有进步呢？
When you laugh with things.
当你经常对事情都以一笑了之的话呢，你就有进步了。
I have many animals on my land,
他那个地方有很多小动物的，
and they're all my friends.
他们都变成他的朋友，
And they make me laugh.
他也经常让他开心，让他笑。
And I'm not laughing at them,
我们
I'm
在笑他
laughing
们
with them, and
我
it
也跟
makes
他
me
一起笑
happy.
然后呢，我也是很开心。
And they know that they make me happy.
他们小动物也知道让他开心。
I have dogs,
还有狗狗，
big.
大狗，
Many people afraid of big dogs.
有些很害怕大的狗。
She used to be. But they look at her and they start radiating loving kindness to her.
他们的狗狗说散发那个奇心给我 ，Really？
Yeah. And you see them doing that to me.
他们有散发奇心给他。我们真的那个地方很多小动物的，没东西做就跟小动物玩。
This affects the world around you.
你学习这个慈心会影响这个世界，
You laugh, you have fun,
你开心你笑，
they will too.
他们都会。
That's how you overcome hatred.
这样子，我们把一切仇恨呢。
See, every morning I have you read this one statement.
早上
Hatred can never be overcome by hate.
那个仇恨不能用仇恨来对待，
Hatred is only overcome by loving kindness.
只有唯一这个慈爱才能消这个恨。
If you see two people arguing
当你看到两个人在争吵了的
and
时
they're
候，
really mad and they're almost ready to hit each other,
两个差不多要打起来了。
and I've been in this situation, I know. I
碰到
start
这个情况
radiating loving kindness to them.
然后他那个散发个慈心给他们，
And after a little bit, they stop yelling at each other.
后来呢，他们就慢慢的不再吵了，
And then they start talking to each other.
两个就开始讲话对
And
话。
then they find out, oh, it's not such a big trouble.
哦，不是这么大的问题吧？
And then they start laughing.
然后他们大概互相笑了。
And when that happens, I say, I've done my work, I'm out of here.
哦，我做完工作了，我会走了。
And it's happened many, many, many times.
哇，试过好多次了，是这样子。
I had some students that were living with me that they could not get along.
我下面的手下的人经常就两三个都不能互相相处的好。
And they become very angry, and then they come and they see me.
他们吵架很愤怒的时候，走去找他。
And I don't talk to them.
我不跟他们讲，
I'm not trying to convince them to be good.
我不会说服他们哪个好哪个不好。
I radiate loving kindness to them.
我只是散发慈心给
It
他。
happens just like I said it did.
就好像刚才我说的。
And after they laugh with each other, then they say, "Thanks, Bhante," and they leave.
他们互相这样子笑完之后，他说：“哦，谢谢本店，我们走了，可以了。”
And I haven't said a word.
我一句说话都没讲。
It works,
它真的
but
是有
it takes
效的。
practice to be able
你
to
就是
do
要
it.
锻炼，是有这个效果。
So anytime you see people unhappy,
当你看到人不开心那个时候，
you don't have to feel sad because of it.
不要为人家难过，你自己难过。
You're never helpless.
你不会是无助的。
You radiate loving kindness into the situation.
你就散发个慈心在那里。
I've been with many people as they were dying,
有些人他看到他就会死亡，
and they were very afraid.
他们很害怕。
I radiate loving kindness to them, and I stay radiating loving kindness to them.
但是
Their
散发慈
mind
心的
becomes
时候
very peaceful, and they die smiling.
然后呢，他们在死亡那个时间很平和的、很平静的死，还带着微笑。
You are never helpless. You can always help, sometimes not by doing anything, except radiate loving kindness.
有的时间你不用做什么，只是那个散发这个慈心出去，就能帮助人家。
I had a friend that he was very close to death,
有个朋友，他差不多要死的了，
and I'm radiating loving kindness to him.
散发慈心，
He held on to my hand,
他抓着他的手，
and I feel his hand getting stronger.
他的手越来越强大。
And all of a sudden he wakes up and he sees me, and he starts to sit up, and he healed himself.
所以今天他会自己坐起来的，好像他自己能治疗自己一样。
I've seen many, many things like that.
很多事情他是这样子的，他看很多。
I used to go to a hospital in Malaysia,
他
which
经
is
常去马来西亚的医院，
mostly Muslims.
都是穆斯林的医院了。
They don't like Buddhists.
他们不喜欢，他们出家佛教徒，佛教的出家人。
But I visit one of my Buddhist friends, and they like the feeling of what I'm doing.
但是他去找他那个朋友，就是他们喜欢他这样。
And they're in a bed right beside where I'm sitting.
原来有些穆斯林呢，他也喜欢他这样做。
Can you come over and hold my hand?
他们也想，你过来啊，抓抓我的手可以吗？
Of course.
可以，
I don't care what religion they
我
are.
不管你是什么宗教的，
They're human beings.
他们都是人类。
And that's the thing we have to get over, is this prejudice about your belief against mine.
我们都要远离这种偏见，就是人跟人那种宗教什么的偏见。
So we accept them as being human beings. Everybody wants to be loved.
我们
Everybody.
接受他们都是人类，我们都应该去爱他们。
And the more you affect the world around you, the happier everything becomes.
你越能够用爱的影响人家，影响这个世界，你就越有这个效果。
I did this for years.
很多人他是这样走，散发慈心。
I'm going down the highway and there's an accident.
有的些人住在公路里头有意外，
Many people, they don't know what to do.
但是也不知道做什么。
And most of the time they do something that's not good.
他们有的些人好人做坏
They just
事，
make mistakes. They just don't understand.
然后那个时间乱七八糟，不知道怎么帮人。
So I sit on the side of the road and I just start radiating loving kindness to everybody,
那就很简单，站在公路旁边，
whether they're hurt or not.
散发给他们的慈爱给所有人。
And all of a sudden they slow down.
突然间他们就定下来了，
Okay, and they do things that are helpful.
他就能杀断的去处理事情。
And everybody becomes coordinated with each other. You're helping each other. And you can see it. You watch it. And then everything is fine. Then, okay, I leave.
当下他们马上懂得互相支持、互相帮忙，做出一个对应的事情。他看到 OK 了，他讲 OK 了，我走了。
I affect maybe 25 or 30 people that their mind is very afraid.
也曾经帮过20多、30个人，那个时间他们很恐惧。
I watch their mind become calm.
他散发慈心，当下他看到他们完全变成很。
Okay, my work is done.
他就说：“我做完工作了，
So I can leave.
我可以走了。”
Your parents are going to die. Everybody's parents
你
dies.
的父母亲可能会离开你往生，
And you sit around and you go, oh, I'm so sad. I'm so afraid.
如果是你坐在那边我很苦我很害怕。
You don't have to do that.
你不用这样
That's why you come here. So you can learn what to do at the right time.
学好这个慈心，那你懂得适当的时间做适当的事情。
It doesn't mean you're going to heal them
不是意思说你能治疗他们，
in the normal way.
在正常的情况下。
But when their mind becomes accepting of what's happening in the present,
当他的心能帮助他定着安住在，也要接受当下的话，
then their mind becomes peaceful and they start feeling this loving kindness coming.
他的心就会很平静，他感受到那种慈爱在
I
他的身上。
I have families where somebody is dying and I tell them everybody in the family has to come and then I'm going to teach you how to do this.
那有个人差不多往生，他叫他所有的家庭成员到了医院里头，他叫他怎么做。
And together we send loving kindness not only to the person that's sick, but we send loving kindness to all of the family members.
他叫他们不光是散发颗慈心给那个病人，他叫他们散发慈心给所有人，所有
So
撑持。
then you discover for yourself that you're not helpless. You can help.
那你那个时间就发现，原来我是有能力帮助人哦。
People that are going into operation, major operation, you don't know whether they're going to live or
动
die.
手术，做那个很严重的手术，你不知道他会成功还是不成功的。
They tell me, I start sending loving kindness to the doctor.
他们说，我散发那个慈心给那个医生了，
I send loving kindness to the nurses
散发慈心给那个护士了，
and even the janitors in the hospital.
那所有人呢，那个工作的人。
I can affect the world in a positive way. but I have to choose to do it.
它影响周边一切的人，但是我要选择怎么去做。
And I can't be complaining that it doesn't work.
我不能
It
说
does.
我的投诉这个不成，这个真的是成的。
So this will give you an idea of why I want you to practice this way.
所以为什么要你们去时那个慈悲喜舍？
So you can help other people.
你当下可以帮很多人。
And you look at people as being human beings.
当人把它当成一个人类的话，
So important.
很重要的。
Okay?
OK。
Will you do it? That's the question.
就做了就这样子做了。
So why do I want you to smile?
笑多一点就是这个原因。
So you can get that feeling going.
那你可以把这个感觉一切的延伸下去。
Smile to everyone.
笑对每个人。
To little children, to old people. Doesn't matter.
人家都一样可以笑。
Okay. So why don't we share some merit?
我会做回向文好。
May suffering ones be suffering free, and the fear-struck fearless be. May the grieving shed all grief, and may all beings find relief. May all beings share this merit that we have thus acquired for the acquisition of all kinds of happiness. May beings inhabiting space and earth, devas and nagas of mighty power, share this merit of ours. May they long protect the Buddha's dispensation. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.
愿痛苦的人免受痛苦，而恐惧及积时无所畏惧。愿冤家彻底摆脱悲伤，愿所有众生都可以得到解脱。愿所有众生分享我们获得的各种幸福快乐。愿在所有空间和地球的一切众生，天神与龙天护法神与我们共同分享此修行功德。愿他们长久维护佛陀的教导。善哉，善哉，善哉。
Okay. Keep smiling. Be happy. Make everybody else happy. Okay?
Yes, Bhante, Ama Bhante.
And when you're sitting, you can move as much as he does.
Buddha.
Don't move your body.
Yeah, today is a little bit busy for you.
Did you notice how I got meditation all when I was
Oh, really? They are happy. You have new member. You see? You have 6 new members.